Hey, everyone. Welcome to the latest podcast episode. This is your host, Terry Knight, and I have a wonderful special guest I've been dying to speak to since last year. Mom of three, co-founder of Primal Kitchen that was sold for 200 million to Kraft Heinz, the one and only Morgan Zanotti. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. I'm super stoked to talk to you because you've built a massive, big brand and sold it. And I think it's important for people that are women, especially that wants to be entrepreneurs. I think you're the right person to talk to and give those insights because I want to see more women out there building businesses like you did and being successful. And I think there's not enough of you guys out there, which I think there's plenty out there, but they need guidance and hope from you. So thank you for
Amazing.
coming on.
Happy to help.
Well, first and foremost, let people know who Morgan is and we'll go from there.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm Morgan, co founder and president of Primal Kitchen. I do have three boys under the age of 6. I say 4 under 41 if you count my husband. And yeah, I live in LA, started and sold Primal Kitchen, stayed on for 5 years after the acquisition and ran the company. I'm still an advisor today, and that's me.
In a nutshell. Well, first and foremost, like what made you want to build Primal Kitchen? Like what was that whole process like for you?
Sure. So I had kind of my own like health, revolution as most people who are in this health and wellness space have at a certain point. But I was just like a lost 20 something, like, what am I going to do with my life? Do I want to be a naturopathic doctor? Do I want to be a nurse? Do I want to, I always had like an entrepreneurial bug, but I don't think I really had the confidence to do anything with it. And then I landed a job at an advertising agency in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I was managing the Frito-Lay account, specifically their like growth ventures portfolio. So all the brands Frito-Lay like buys that aren't Frito-Lay, so like Casey's pita chips, Cracker Jack popcorn, etc. Um, and yeah, I did that for a little while. And then, I mean, if you rewind in my 20s, I quit my first job as an accountant and moved to South America for 2.5 years, got my yoga certification in Hawaii. So I kind of had this like really just like, I feel like I really did my 20s right. But that led to like, a feeling behind all the rest of my friends. By the time I'm 25, 26, they all have jobs. And I'm kind of like, oh, I lived off like 8 grand a year. So I had money saved, but I just felt like I needed to know what I was doing for the rest of my life. And I didn't know. So I just started doing stuff. So got this advertising agency job, surfed Lake Michigan in the winter, decided I didn't want to live in the Midwest, moved. I had never been to California. I went to visit, moved like 3 months later, got a new job running marketing for a brand called Cavito, which is like a sparkling probiotic drink. They actually sold to PepsiCo. So I had a lot of like food experience at this point. And I knew who this guy, Mark Sisson, was. He had kind of, I don't know, popularized the paleo movement, if you will. And I was a follower of his. He lived in Malibu. I had like, we had an event that we sponsored of Primal's Blueprint back then. It was just like a Mark event. There was no Primal Kitchen. And I went because I wanted to meet Mark, which I did. And then a few months later, he called and was like, hey, don't really know anyone in the food industry. Like, can you help me? I want to launch this brand. So I met with him and he was going to call the brand Primal Blueprint. I told him that was a horrible name. He should call it Primal Kitchen. And yeah, I just came on as like a marketing consultant and did everything to build out the brand and the strategy for Primal Kitchen. And then like a year in, he was like, hey, I need you to come on full time and do this thing with me. So I did. And it just grew really fast organically. And then we sold it 4 years later. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's real fast turnaround time. I didn't know that. So Primal Blueprint was initially his thought. You said
He
no.
has a book called Primal Blueprint and a website, Primal Blueprint. So he was like, oh, I'll just call the food Primal Blueprint. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really think that's like a great food name.
Gotcha. Well, you mentioned Primal Kitchen. What made you pivot to that name? Like what was your whole process?
I just thought the name of his book just didn't resonate to me for like a food brand. I feel like Primal Kitchen was like so much more just, I don't know, it's just better. It's just intuitively better. But yeah, so we had been working on like one mayonnaise and then that turned into just like salad dressings. And he had been working on a bar. I reformulated the bar to include collagen protein. And then we just kind of like, it just kind of took off. Like I think beyond any of our wildest imagination. We ran our first run of mayonnaise. We ran like, I want to say 18,000 jars. And sorry, I have this like thing in my throat.
No
But we
worries.
ran 18,000 jars and we thought we would sell. We were like, if we sell these in a year, we'll be happy. And we sold them out online in 1 week. So it was kind of crazy.
It's a big movement. Yeah. I was just talking before the podcast. My wife, Mars, she loves your product. We use the mayonnaise every day.
Thank you for the support. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love.
We love you guys. Well, Morgan, like you guys came out with one product, sold out. You guys made several different products. How does that go about making the product though? Do you guys go through like a company? You test it? Like how does that all work to make sure it's right?
You got to find like what they call a co-man, like a co-manufacturer or co-packer. It's like all the same term. And someone, you can have your own formulation, but likely the co-man's going to tweak your formulation to meet their like equipment, if you will. And then they run the product for you. I mean, you can also make it yourself, but that is like, involves a lot of capital and like building out a manufacturing facility. I mean, I know brands who have done it, but for the most part, people start with like a co-man. So there'll be some company who makes mayonnaise for, you know, 40 different brands. And they give you a price, you tell them what ingredients you want to use and what your formulation is, and they run it on their manufacturing equipment.
That's cool. You mentioned you came full time after a year. What was your role? Like, what did you end up doing to, expedite and explode this brand? I mean, to a multi-million dollar.
God, I was doing everything. I hired everyone. I did our pricing strategy. I did our package design in house with one graphic designer. I was attending sales calls. I hired our broker. I started the social media accounts on my phone. I did everything.
Gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, one woman show sounds
No, I
like,
mean,
oh my
we had
goodness.
some support. Like Mark had an existing company, and Mark had a big following. So you can't underestimate like the value that kind of like brought to the brand, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you kind of like spearheaded the whole thing. I mean, I didn't know pricing, package design. Like, how long did it take for you guys to make the package design? Was that weeks?
Probably like months. And I would
Goodness.
like I'd get renders from our designer, and then I'd be like sending them to my girlfriends from high school, like, which ones do you like better? What about this? What about that? Or, yeah. So it was very much like a scrappy entrepreneurial story.
Hey, that's the best ones in my eyes. You mentioned hiring people. You guys are so successful. What's your best advice for hiring great people?
Well, I was very unconventional. So I guess I would just hire great people and not worry about anything else. But what we did, my first employee was my best friend from childhood. She ran marketing for us. She still runs marketing today under Kraft. So she's been with the brand like 10 years. Then a woman who hired me at Kavita, I brought over. She was a mentor of mine, Amanda. She's our head of growth still today. A guy who hired me as a consultant at like this Mad Dog Athletics company came over. He was our CFO, COO. Then my best friend from LA manages our Target account. A girl I played high school with runs West Coast sales for us. A friend of mine from college, Anna's friend from college, manages our Amazon account in house. So I kind of just hired great people, and then like all the chips just kind of fell into place. Like we were ready to bring Amazon in house, and Anna's best friend from college was managing Pyrex's Amazon account, which is like a $60 million Amazon account. So we just pulled her in. We just kept kind of finding the right people. And then sales, like sales is sales. My friend Kelly was in sales for like a big beer company. So she didn't know food and beverage at all. Well, she knew beverage, but alcohol beverage, not like the grocery store beverage business. And I was like, I don't care. Kelly's a hard worker. She's great. Good energy, good culture. So Kelly came over. She still works for us today. Like everyone is still there. We've all worked together
Goodness.
for a long time. We had a blast. It was like I don't know. I think culture first, skill set second.
Yeah, hands down. It seems like you know everybody, so it kind of worked and gelled together. That's so awesome approach.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So, I mean, you hired the right people, package designs, pricing. I mean, this is very organic, guys. Like, this is like the real deal. How'd you come up with the pricing strategy? Like, that's so difficult, I think, in your industry to make sure it's on point.
Well, margin is like really tight in food and beverage because like you sell the product to a distributor, the distributor takes a cut, sells it to the grocery store takes a cut, sells it to the end consumer. So it's really hard to make money in food and beverage. And we knew that, but we basically created like the product we wanted to have, which was like a avocado oil based mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is like 75% oil. So it's an expensive product to make unless you're using like canola or soybean oil. But we didn't want to have any canola or soybean oil. We still don't to this day in any of our products. We're the first people to kind of do like a seed oil free if you will.
Hmm.
So we knew we wanted that. And then we knew we didn't want sugar. It was like shocking. If you went to the grocery store in 2015 when we launched, like every mayonnaise was like soybean canola oil, safflower oil, or some blend thereof mixed with eggs, vinegar, and a little bit of sugar. So we're like, well, what's with the sugar and the mayonnaise? This is ridiculous. So we just kind of started, and that like worked. Like right away, it resonated. And we priced the product. Basically, we were like, here's the product we want. The manufacturer was like, here's how much the unit cost was. And I was like, here's how much we need to sell it for in order to stay in business. Otherwise, we're going to go out of business. And that ended up retailing for $9.99. So it's quite expensive.
Hmm. That's
If your
good.
wife does the shopping, you might not even know. So maybe I shouldn't have told you. But it was either like I was like, look, people buy the product at $9.99 and it works, or they don't. We don't have a business. Let's like test it out and see if there's people who will pay more for a higher quality product.
Yeah, higher quality is definitely the way to go, guys. How long did it take you guys to get into like stores? Because it's at Publix. We have Publix here in South Florida,
Yeah.
and you guys are on the shelves left and right.
We launched February 2nd of 2015. By like June, we were in a Whole Foods Rocky Mountain region. So I would say like that summer we were rolling out on shelves.
That fast?
Getting
Crazy.
into stores isn't actually that hard. That's
Yeah.
actually like fairly easy. A lot of stores like you can pay your way on shelf, like which we didn't. I mean, everyone does. Like they require a free fill at every store. So like, say you get into 100 Whole Foods, you're gonna have to send each store a free case of product. Like that's just like a rule in the industry.
Oh,
But then yeah, getting into stores isn't easy. Like staying on shelf and consumers actually putting the product in their shopping cart, like that's where the like strategy and trickiness and stickiness and brand and pricing, all that really like comes into play.
yeah, I bet. And then when did you guys start selling on Amazon? Was that right after, or that took a little while?
I think maybe within the first year, but we launched with this company called Thrive Market. I'm not sure if you've heard of them, but they're kind of like a Costco meets Whole Foods online. So you get like discount type pricing, but they sell like Whole Foods products and you buy it all online. And yeah, so we launched with them first. And then they kind of compete with Amazon. So it was like a weird balance of like Amazon was like scanning Thrive for pricing comparison and all this stuff. So yeah,
Bet. And I mean, during this whole process, did you guys raise any money to help
we
scale?
really funded it because Mark had this profitable supplements business. We kind of funded it out of in that same entity, that same corporate entity. So it was kind of funded out of the profits of the other business. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's even
Yeah,
better, right?
we most people in the industry raise money. We didn't raise money. We really didn't raise money. We did like a friends and family round the year before we sold, like and raised 4 million, and then sold like a year later. We Mark and I owned 95% of the company when we exited.
What? 95%? That's goals right there. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it was good.
My gosh. Well, I just wanted to backtrack because you kind of picked my brain. I'm sure you heard of Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
You mentioned in your 20s quitting your job and just moving and just doing yoga, stuff like that. Do you feel like that helped you to what got you started when you came back and kind of had that focus? Like just live out your 20s, like you mentioned, and then like focus right after.
Yeah, I don't even
Or,
think I came home and I was like, "Okay, I did it. Now it's time to focus." Like, I think I was like, I think that's just me. Like, I don't
mhm,
think anyone would be like, "Morgan's really focused." Like, I'm still kind of like all over the place. So, I think live out your 20s because you should live out your 20s. You don't even need to focus when you get home. You should just take advantage of like being young and free. If you're like, if that's the type of person you are, like, I'm the type of person who values like freedom and adventure. Like those are kind of my two things. Like I want to work when I want, where I want, and I want to be on a grand adventure. Like I feel like this what am I going to do with my one wild and precious life, right? So I just for me that like worked, right? But other people might, have had a different upbringing or different values, right? And they value like security and safety. Like I have friends like that and they're in private equity. You know what I mean? Like they
yeah.
are just like, I value having like financial stability and I've quit lots of jobs without having another job lined up. Like, yeah. I actually quit Kavita and had no other job lined up when I met Mark. I wasn't, I was like consulting. I mean, I was working, I was consulting, but I was like renting out my bedroom that I shared with this guy I met on Craigslist when I moved to California. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. I met Eddie on Craigslist. I had one bedroom, he had the other. I was like renting my bedroom on Airbnb and staying with my now husband, who I was just dating at the time, to make extra money.
That's
When I met
cool.
Mark, I was on a surf trip with my husband from San Francisco to San Diego. We were like living out of a juicy van. And so I don't know. I don't think it was like, I'm gonna go get this. It's not, it never gets out of your system. You're not like,
Mhm.
you're either like a person who thrives in the like unknown adventure, but with that comes a lot of like neuroticism and anxiety. Do you know what I mean? Like that. I am
Exactly.
not a person who people are like, oh, she's just like really, she's really like calm. I'm kind of like all over. That's just
That's
who I
a
am.
Yeah, and that's fun. That's totally cool. And what was cool that you mentioned is you met your husband while you were Airbnb and renting out your other room. How did you meet your husband, by the
So
way?
I actually met my husband at the beach and through mutual friends in LA, but I was staying with him when I would rent my bedroom out. I'd just go like sleep at my boyfriend's house at the time, my now husband.
Nice. Okay, cool. And how long have you guys been married?
7 years.
7 years. Oh, okay. Yeah. Me and my wife's been married for 8. So close call for
Congrats.
both. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the secret? Because you're so successful. I'm sure he is too. But what's the secret to keeping the marriage together and being happy?
I mean, I think you just choose that every day. Like it's kind of a choice, right? It is. I feel like any relationship you could choose to just, it's kind of life, right? Like you could choose to like see the good in it, or you could choose like anger and resentment and fighting. We have 3 under 6, so it's not like all roses over here. It's tough. Like we're in it. We're definitely, I read this quote once that was like, you'll have 5 different marriages in your life and hopefully they're all to the same person. And that like really resonated with me. Like the marriage we had, like when
In
we
the
met,
beginning.
right?
Yeah.
Or like, cause you're really kind of married, in my opinion, before you get married. Like, it's not like your relationship changes the day you get married. You're kind of already in that relationship you choose to like formalize, right? So you have your like marriage before your wedding, you have your marriage after your wedding, you have your marriage after kids, and I don't know what the rest looks like, but it's definitely like phases.
Yeah, phases indeed. And you mentioned you have 3 kids under 6, boys or girl?
All boys.
All boys. So I think they match your energy well, I assume, because 'cause they're all over the place, like, they're
Yeah, yeah,
energized,
they're
they're
wild.
you
Yeah,
know
for
so
sure.
how do you handle that and build a company and be a wife? Like, how the hell do you do that,
Well,
Morgan?
like in
Like
all fairness, so I was 32 weeks pregnant with my first when we sold Primal Kitchen. So I got like,
okay.
and then I stayed working for Kraft, but a lot of the pressure was off. You know what I mean? Then I had a team and Kraft supported us, and I had like, actual legal counsel and actual, like, just really like, I don't know, actual real help
Mhm.
after I had kids. And then I had corporate maternity leave. So, like, I also got to actually take real maternity leave with my second and third, which was, helpful. I mean, I
Okay.
was like closing the deal in the hospital, like with my
Pushing
first,
out a baby, just
yeah,
closing the
C-section recovery. And I was like, thank God I had a C-section. Those 5 days in the hospital were like that was like my
downtime.
leave. Yeah.
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 My goodness, you're just all about work. That's pretty
No,
cool.
I'm really not. Like, I'm a
I
work hard,
mean,
but that was like an
yeah.
intense time. Like, you couldn't like, I couldn't be like, I'm out. Can someone fill in for me? It was like no one else in the company was really like aware of what was going on. It was like 3 of us who had to negotiate with like investment bankers, lawyers, with between Kraft Heinz, right? So there was no like tapping out. But my partners, Mark and Rick, like did the bulk of the heavy lifting for us. But yeah, it was definitely something. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I think you guys mentioned, Kraft's wanting to buy you guys in November 2000 was it 18?
Yeah.
And how long did that whole process take? Because you said it kept going back and forth. Is that like a couple months or 2 months?
All these things always go back and forth, but we started our process in like, we hired an investment banker to help like market the company and sell it for us in like the spring, so maybe like April. And then we signed with Kraft in November. So it was 6 months of like meeting with a bunch of different companies who might be interested, all that sort of thing. And then we selected Kraft Heinz and signed the deal with them November 28th. And then it has to go through like, FTC review, like when a publicly traded company buys another company, it's subject to like regulatory review. So we
Oh,
didn't close until January 3rd of 2019.
yeah, I saw that online. What was your thoughts, you and Mark, as far as selling? Like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to sell. Like, what was?
You know, when we launched the company, Mark had a goal to sell the company. So that was actually really helpful in just running it, knowing like what we wanted the end result to be. I think that was like kind of instrumental to the success, to our success. Like I said, the margins are really low in food. And I always ask people like, oh, the year we sold, we were doing 50 million in revenue. Like how much EBITDA do you think we had? And like, I'll ask you, like, we're doing 50 million. How much money do you think we're making? Right. Like, I'm curious your thoughts. What do you
F- what, a year or just
Yeah, like,
overall?
with the year we do 50 million, how much money in, like, the bottom line does the company have?
A million? Maybe
2,000,000,
500,000? Okay. Oh,
which
okay.
is considered, like, amazing. You know, most people are losing money in food at 50 million in revenue, and
Yeah.
Mark had a personal guarantee on our $9 million line of credits. We ran the business on this line of credit, right? Like, you gotta buy inventory. We had avocado oil we're, like, pre-purchasing, so we don't run out of oil. We've got all this inventory. We have to hold 30 days of inventory across, 60 SKUs. It's really expensive and cash intensive. And Mark had a personal guarantee on our line of credit. So if the business faltered and we couldn't pay the line, like they could take Mark's house. It was a stressful situation to be in, stressful. So we knew we wanted a partner to help kind of like scale the brand.
Yeah, that's quite scary too. I mean, that's a gamble, but you guys knew it was gonna hit home
But you
and
never
do
you're
well.
you're in denial it's going to hit home until like the money gets wired into your bank account. I can tell you that much. But yeah.
Oh,
No, I mean there's like, I don't know, if I had to guess, like 5,000 new food and beverage brands every year, and like how
wow.
many deals in food and beverage actually get announced? Like, I don't know, maybe 10 a year, 10, 12 a year. It's not many.
Very small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't think Mark was like, if I could just sell this company for 30 million, I'd be happy when we launched. And then the next year he's like, okay, maybe 100 million. And the next year he's like 200. And the next year he's like 400. And I was like, Mark, hold on. I was
Bless
like,
you.
Mark, you're smoking your own crack. Like, there's no way anyone's paid $400 million for this company. We sold it.
What do you think the cap would have been if you guys kept going? I think you guys could have sold it for more, I would think.
Sure, but like we exited, sure, we could have. We probably would have had to raise money. Mark and I would have owned less of the company to sell it for more, to walk away with the same amount of money 3 years later, working for some private equity person, right? Like,
Uh,
that could have been our path for sure. We're happy with our outcome.
100%,
Yeah.
95% ownership there. That's very rare though. Like you guys, and that's why I'm so amazed by you, Morgan, and Mark, but mainly you as a woman. You took charge. You took spearheaded package design, social media, hiring, like everything. I don't know, like what were you not worried in between all that stuff during that whole journey? Did you have doubts?
Well, sure. I mean, there's always doubts. Only human, Terry. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think I was like, Mark and I always say, like, we were naive enough to the industry to like persevere anyway. Like, it's almost harder now. Like, I know how hard it is and how slim the chances are of success. And I'm looking down the road at, like, okay, what's next for me? And I'm kind of like, this industry is like really hard? So, like a little bit of, if we, that whole like, if you knew then what you know now, like that, you never would have probably launched the brand, right? Like, or if I would have had an MBA and I would have been like, okay, I'm going to do a market analysis, like the highest price mayonnaise on the shelf is 2.99. Like, there's no way we can sell a mayonnaise for more than 4.99. We did this quantitative consumer testing and it told us that no one said they'll pay more than 4.99. And then we would have been like running a bankrupt company, burning cash every year, right? So like, I think it just was like the right magic came together across the board as far as like people, product, timing, everything to have this just like, successful outcome.
Gotcha. And you mentioned you guys chose Kraft. You said, I'm assuming there's other companies that were bidding as well. Like, was there a particular reason you guys chose Kraft versus the other
I mean, Kraft, we had the
company?
most synergies with. So we had another strategic in the process and two more private strategics, like a big food company, and then two private equity people that wanted a majority piece of the business. We like Yeah, I think Kraft had the most synergies, meaning like we had a ketchup. Our top SKUs were like ranch dressing, ketchup, mayonnaise, avocado oil, and Kraft had just a lot of expertise in all of those areas. They promised to like keep our people, and like literally 6 years later, almost my entire team is still there. So they really stuck to their word on that one, and they really kind of like left us alone. So like I kept running Primal Kitchen and I reported into a president of Kraft Heinz. But other than that, like we got rid of our bank loan. So I didn't have to like talk to the bank about Mark's line of credit and all that. Kraft just kind of became the bank for us. And then there's a bunch of like any business owner. I mean, any business owner could relate, but there's a bunch of just like bullshit legal stuff you get that's like half of it's scam and half you don't even know how to navigate it. It's like so overwhelming. And I would say more than half of it's scam, to be honest with you. But that stuff, like just Kraft Heinz is so used to dealing with all that. So that was lifted off my plate. So all the parts of the business, running the business that kind of sucked, like Kraft provided a lot of like support on like managing cash flow, bank stuff. Like I remember one year they're like, we need you to be more profitable. And I was like, then cut my marketing budget. And they're like, no, we want to put the marketing behind Primal Kitchen. It's like, here's $20 million, right? You have a $20 million marketing budget next year. And I was like begging them to take some of my marketing dollars back and they wouldn't take it. They're like, no, that's your marketing budget.
Gosh, it's
Spend it.
big numbers
Big
there.
numbers. So yeah.
You're not even phased by it, Morgan. That's crazy. Crazy. You're not afraid of big numbers. How did it feel like when the money hit the bank account? Like how long does that take anyways for when you sell a business, you
You
guys
get
have
a wire transfer the day you close.
the same
So
day?
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Big
Yeah.
chunk. Okay. That's
But
cool.
every deal's different. Sometimes people don't sell 100% of their company, or sometimes they'll be like entering into like Kavita structured their buyout when they were under 10 million in revenue. And it was kind of like Pepsi bought Kavita and Pepsi was like, we'll pay X amount dependent on like where you're at in 3 years. So like every deal's so different. But for us, it was just 100% cash buyout transfer on the day the business closed.
Sign on a dotted line and wait. That's cool.
Yeah.
My
Mark and I
goodness.
were in like full denial. We're like, there's no way that this is actually happening until like the day the money was wired, I would say. And so I had my first raker on November 6th, and then we sold on the 28th, or we signed on the 28th of November. And I came home from a hospital on Friday, and then on Saturday, Mark and I had like a 2 hour call. We bonused because Mark had an existing company that we launched Primal Kitchen under. We didn't really have like but Mark and I talked the whole time we were building about the bonuses we wanted to give to people. And we were like quite generous. So every single person who worked for us got a bonus. We called everyone individually. It was like lots of tiers, graphic designers with huge bonuses, like
Hmm.
anyone who was in the warehouse, driving a forklift, doing anything got a bonus from us. We bonus everyone. And some bonuses were like, $1 million, $2 million, $500,000. I mean, they were significant. So
Yeah.
it was
I
fun.
mean,
It was kind of like that was the best part of the whole thing.
of course. I think you guys are the big deal, you and Mark, Morgan, because you guys take care of your employees, which help make the companies. Kudos to
Yeah.
you guys. Kudos. You mentioned you stayed on 5 years, and I guess that ended back in 2023 or 2024 as an advisor.
Actually, last spring I stepped down. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you're not involved anymore with Primal,
No, I
or do
am.
you
I'm
still
still
get?
like an advisor, and yeah,
Okay,
I'm very involved. I was just with the team at Expo West, and I'm involved.
cool. I think there's a Primal Kitchen podcast. Is that something you guys
I
do,
was
or?
hosting the
Oh,
Primal Kitchen podcast. I haven't done any in like 6 months, but yes, that was a fun passion project of mine. The marketing team was enough to like to go with that.
so cool. What was your goal as soon as the bank hit the money hit the bank account, Morgan, you're set for life, tenfolds. What was the next thing for you? Because I think you accomplished so much to that point. I'm sure you had to start thinking and figuring out what you wanted to do next.
Well, I just kept having babies and like stayed. I don't know. I had a non-compete in all of food and beverage for like 3 years. And that was kind of like nice to just force me to like chill and not like jump right into the next thing. So yeah. So I'm kind of now, 6 years later, like, okay, what's next? So lots of options on the horizon. Like, do I do my own thing? Do I go take a CEO role? Like, where am I gonna end up?
You still
Team
trying
building.
to figure that out?
Yeah, I feel
You
like
don't
I'm
know
just
yet?
again. I'm like, oh, what do I want to do with my life? Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
I think you should write a book. I don't know if you have a book out yet, but I think you should write a book to help out,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
would be fun.
entrepreneurs.
You
That
know,
would
I
be
always
cool.
said I wanted to write a book. This is hilarious. My book would be called Everything I Need to Know About Business I Learned in Bed, and just the parallels of like selling a company and dating and everything. It's all back. It's always just back to that. I'm like, oh, we're just still in high school after all for the rest of our lives.
Rest of our lives. You should do that though. I would read it. I would buy it.
Yeah, you're sweet. Maybe I will.
You should. You have 3 kids. Do you guys want any more kids? You have 3 right now, under 6. You
I think
guys
we're like good. I think we're
you're
good with
good?
3 boys. Yeah. We haven't
What's
like
the
fully closed the door, but I think the door is pretty closed.
Well, you have your handful. What's the challenging part of raising 3 kids? 'Cause, 3 boys. We have 1 boy who's 2, Blake.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you do it? It's 3. Like, how do you do it?
I mean, I think three's hard, but like they play together and stuff. So there's a lot more like maybe less pressure on us for like entertainment. Cause like the kids, like you will wake up and they're just like playing for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like you can get stuff done around the house. So I don't think
Yeah,
the numbers thing. I just think kids, it's just hard to raise kids in the society we live in today. You know, it's like there's way too much parenting information. So you're constantly left like you're failing at as a parent. Like, I don't think anyone's like, I'm crushing this because every time you open social media, there's like a new person telling you that you got to do it this way and that's exhausting. And then, you know, it's the struggle of like I want to be with them all the time and then like oh my god I need space and then my god I feel guilty and then like that process kind of like rinse and repeat, right? Like rinse and repeat that, like guilt overwhelm back and forth the volley. And then just like the sheer like volume of communication it takes with your partner to just like I read this. I'm a romance novel addict, and there was like this one book about an English nanny who, of course, like falls in love with the widowed husband or something, like the typical romance novel. And she's like, well, I'm processing the kids right now. And I was like, oh my God, processing the kids is like the most appropriate term I've ever heard in my whole life. It's like, okay, get your pajamas on. Did you take a bath? Brush your teeth. Just like having three of them that all need a lot of processing support is like, it's overwhelming. But I think really, I'm kind of in a good stride right now on just like doing nothing more but trying to just like enjoy being a mom and like letting the rest of it go. Like it just lowering your expectations everywhere. Like it doesn't matter if the house is dirty. I don't know. I think that's a good, like, how can you just create the most calm? And sometimes, in order to create the most calm in your house, you just have to do less. So
I agree.
that's what
My
I'm,
wife says the same thing, like,
yeah.
word for word what you're saying. She's learning that.
Yeah.
But kudos to you guys, my wife, you as a mom, any mom out there that has kids. It's a lot of work, but you guys do the best, so
Oh, you're
I
sweet.
give you
Thank
guys
you. You
all the credit in
dads
the
too.
world.
You dads too are underrated. I feel like you don't get the same credibility this us moms do these days.
But we don't deserve it as much as you guys, because you guys are the pivotal anchors, I think, in my eyes, so
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You mentioned okay, so I have one question then, because 'cause you're so successful, Morgan. I have a 2-year-old, Blake, but what do you wanna teach your kids? You have 3 of them that you
Yeah.
wanna pass on so they can implement, integrate it into their life and be successful just like you? Like, what are those things that you wanna pass on?
I mean, there's so much, but I would say just like agency, like the feeling that you have control over your own life is something that I feel like is just like pretty important. Like, you know, what do you want to do? You figure that out, you go learn, you make mistakes. Just like, I'm not like big on academics, as you can imagine. I'm a little bit more like, I would have my kids, if there was like a Waldorf farm school by my house, I'd have my kids there, but there's not. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like teaching them that they have power and control over like how their life turns out. And I think that's something that is important for happiness, lifelong happiness.
I agree, I agree. Cool. Well, what's your plan for the rest of the year, Morgan, for 2025?
I love what's my plan. I I'm going to go hopefully on a girls' surf trip here in the next few months. My husband and I are taking the kids to Mexico and my parents for spring break. We go to Wisconsin for the summer. So we head to my parents' lake house for like 8 weeks and we go to Michigan to visit my in laws. So we'll be traveling all summer and then school starts up again and
Yeah.
we're back in the grind. But yeah, that's kind of my year.
Hey, that sounds fun to me. That I want to bring that up too, because on your Instagram you have an emoji that has a surfing emoji and tennis. You
Yeah,
love surfing, right?
I do love surfing.
How long have you been surfing for?
I started surfing when I was traveling in South America. So it's been like, I don't know, 15 years, I guess.
And
Yeah.
what made you want to surf though? Because
I
me, I'm like scared of sharks, so
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
didn't
like,
wanna surf. I was like I was traveling and with 3 girls from Ireland. We were in Mancor, Peru. It's like the first spot where the water gets warm in South America if you're on, like, that coast, and, I was they were like, "We're taking a surf lesson," and I was like, "No, I'm like a lake girl. I grew up, like, water skiing, like, I'm not really, like I'm really comfortable with this ocean thing," and they're like, "No, you have to come," and I was like, "No, I'm not going," and they're like, "No, you're coming," and I was like, "Okay, fine." So we do this surf lesson, and I, like, stood up on my first wave, and then I was, like, hooked for life. Then they kinda moved on, and I was like, "Oh, no, I'm still doing this surfing thing. This is, like, so fun for me," and that's, like, kinda all I did for the next, like, year.
uh-huh.
I stayed in Mancor for a while, and then I lived in Ecuador for, like, 6 months. I was surfing every day. I lived in Sayulita, Mexico, surfing every day for, like, 6 months. I lived in Costa Rica for 6 months. I was surfing every day then. So I just became obsessed with surfing. Yeah.
That's a good thing though. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Do you think it's like therapeutic for you? Like it just clears your head and lets you
Well,
ride
and it's
out?
just fun. I mean, there's just, like, nothing more fun. Anything where you're, like, so in the present moment that you're not thinking is good for you know? And when you're surfing, you're like, "Okay, the next wave's coming. Who's on the right? Who's on the left? Where are the rocks? Is there a big set coming? Do I need to be further out? Can I sit further in?" Like, all that
Yeah.
was is fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah,
Well, and what's your take with Poppy? I think they're being sold to Pepsi,
they
right? They're
are,
gonna
yeah.
acquire 'em. Like, what's your whole take with that? You think that's a good move, bad,
I'm
or
excited for them.
interesting?
I think it's a good move for Pepsi, and I'm excited for Poppy. I think that probably feels amazing. I mean, they have a crazy stories. I was texting their founder Allison yesterday. I'm sure she's very
Nice.
excited this week. She
Yeah.
also has 3 boys, but
Cool.
yeah, no, I'm pumped for them. It's really hard to, like, run a food company, so anytime you can get the support of a big food conglomerate, I think I understand it from just, like, a I think everybody loves to be like, "Oh, sell out, they're gonna, like, change the ingredients," and I'm here, like,
Yeah.
6 years later, like, "Oh my god, you guys really?" Like, it's such a reductionist mindset of, like, what actually happens, you know? Like, I don't really believe there's these, like, big, bad, evil people with bad intentions. It's just, like, not it wasn't my experience when I was working with Frito-Lay people in my mid-20s, and it hasn't been my experience at Kraft Heinz. Like, everyone loves the brand and wants they don't spend that much money on you because they wanna, like, wreck your brand. Like,
Mhm.
they want you to succeed and to keep doing what you're doing, and they buy you because you're doing things they don't know how to do, and that they
Sure.
wanna learn from you, and they want you to keep doing. So, I don't really see any, like, downside.
Okay. That was my next question because a lot of people do say, "Oh, they might change an ingredient." Like Jersey Mike's, they just got bought by what, Blackstone or something, and everyone's worried about the ingredients kind of tanking and all that good stuff. But you
I
brought
mean,
up some
are
good
Jersey
points.
Mike's ingredients that good anyway to start with? Is that their
Oh,
I don't
that's a
know,
good question.
are they? I
That's
don't
a
know.
good question. I don't know
Talk
either.
about the deli meat here, like, I think that's some of the, like, biggest offenders on the list of, like, "Wanna cut your risk of cancer, don't eat deli meat." No, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, everyone asks that, every acquisition, like, they all
Yeah.
ask that, yeah. I don't know, quite honestly, Primal Kitchen woulda, like, survived COVID. We had the after if a lot of folks who maybe are buying products or maybe I don't know, there was, like, a in the year of all the inflation, like, 2 years ago when it got really bad, like, I mean, Primal had like over $20 million of excess costs, and we had tons of inflation that to make the same amount of products year over year cost exorbitantly more the following year. And that's kind of stuff like hits you so fast. And if you don't see it coming, you're suddenly in a situation where like you're in trouble if you don't have the support of someone like Kraft Heinz. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
100%.
benefits that come with it as well. And being able to find your products more places, distribution, all those things I think can be better after you have a supported acquisition.
Cool. I like that. I like that. Morgan, I like to ask this one question always on the episode. What keeps you going when you want to give up?
Like, think all my friends, like, I have super and my family too, but I have, like, really supportive, like, friends, like, I've worked with for my best friend Natalia, my other best friend Anna, and Amanda, who all work at Primal still. Like, they're, like, really helpful on the, like, work front when I'm just, like or even the personal front, but, obviously my husband and then these, like, 3 women that I don't really make any decision in my life without consulting. I would say, like, those they keep me going.
That's cool. It's good to have that close people by your side. So I totally get it. All
Totally.
right. Well, cool. Well, Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
thanks for
talk to
having
you,
me.
and
It's so fun.
yeah, always fun talking to one of someone that sells a $200 million business. I mean, it's always good to pick your brain and learn from the best. In my eyes.
Love it.
Morgan, where well, thank you. But where can people reach out to you, Morgan, to follow you? Because you're posting on TikTok, Instagram. I'm watching them.
Yeah.
You putting out some great content.
I'm just like I think I'm Morgan Zanotti on TikTok. My cousin, like, posts everything for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate social media, but, yeah.
Well, I can have it below, but yeah, I'm following you, so I can let people know.
Yeah, Morgan Zanotti on Instagram, and I think Morgan
Mhm.
Zanotti on TikTok.
Yeah.
Zanotti. You can follow me there.
Yep. Exactly, guys. I'll have the post below. Please follow Morgan. And Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
it was great. Thanks, Terry.
Until next episode, everyone. Peace out.